So today, we're putting the Yamaha MT-15 up against the Honda CB150R, and we're going to break these bikes down in detail to see which one deserves a spot in your garage. Both are powered by a single-cylinder engine, but the MT has a slight edge with its 6cc bigger displacement. They've got a square engine layout, and their compression ratios are almost the same, with the MT just a touch higher. For the valve train, the CB runs a DOHC setup with 4 valves per cylinder, while the MT goes with a simpler and easier-to-maintain single overhead cam setup that isn't as strong at higher RPM. To make up for that, Yamaha added a variable valve actuation system, which lets the engine switch between 2 valve timings, one for better low-end grunt and the other for stronger top-end performance that gives it a broader power band and a more responsive engine from low to high revs. As for transmission, power is sent to the rear wheel through a 6-speed gearbox, and the MT also gets a slipper clutch. So, how does all that translate to their performance? So, the MT actually makes a bit more power, about 2 horsepower more, which is a big deal when the CB only puts out 16. And in terms of torque, the Master of Torque also leads with 0.5 Newton-meters more. But when it comes to weight, the MT is heavier, and that really drags down its power-to-weight ratio, making it a bit lower than the CB. Now, just so you know, we're using the Indian Spec MT-15 for this comparison. Specs can change depending on the region. For example, the Indonesian version makes 1 more horsepower, 1 more Newton-meter. It's also about 8 kilos lighter since it skips ABS, rear mudguard, and pillion grab rails. So if we compare the CB to the Indonesian MT, the MT actually comes out on top. So, how do they stack up in real-world performance? We got data from AutomotiveNet, who ran acceleration tests using race logic. For this one, they used the CB150R Street Fire, the Indonesian version with different bodywork, but the same engine as the CB we're comparing. On the 100-meter run, the MT clocks 6.7 seconds, while the CB takes 7.4. Stretching to 200 meters, the MT does it in 10.6 seconds, compared to 11.5 for the CB. And on the longest stretch, the MT comes out ahead again at 17.3 seconds, while the CB needs 18.5. As for top speed, race logic shows only a small gap, with the MT just a touch faster. Moving on to electronics, this one goes to the MT. Aside from the usual ABS and LED lights, Yamaha threw in traction control and a slipper clutch that keeps the rear wheel from locking up on hard downshifts. It also comes with a color TFT display that hooks up to your phone for turn-by-turn navigation and music control. None of that is on the CB. Just keep in mind, all of this is on the Indian Spec MT. The Indonesian version doesn't get ABS, traction control, or the TFT screen. When it comes to the chassis, the MT is built around Yamaha's signature Delta Box frame, which is basically a type of perimeter frame, while the CB is fitted with a trellis frame. Suspension is fairly basic on both bikes, with non-adjustable upside-down forks up front and a preload adjustable monoshock at the rear. Braking, however, shows a clearer difference. The MT relies on a 2-piston axial caliper from Bybri, whereas the CB is equipped with a more serious 4-piston Nissan radial caliper. The CB rolls on wider tires than the MT, with a 110mm front and a 150mm rear, sizes more commonly seen on 250cc bikes. The MT sits a bit taller and has a longer wheelbase. It also carries a larger fuel tank, 1.5 liters bigger than the CB's, which adds some weight but gives it a little more range between fill-ups.